We gather this hour to pause, to honour the Spirit, and to accept ourselves as fragile humans, equally full of nobility and strength. We gather, weary perhaps of life's many trials, yet still cheered by infinite possibilities for love's grace. We meet with smiles and glad voices for friends old and new, every stranger a gift of potential friendship and mutual consolation. We rejoice in the keen mind and the warm heart. And we remember those whose opportunities and needs our society thwarts, as we give thanks too for all the blessings that are ours, even in the midst of struggle. We praise all who extend a hand in service and whose vision of justice commands action. We pause and we gather. We meet and rejoice. We remember and give thanks. We praise and we proclaim our community as we gather together this morning to worship once again. With these words from Bruce Southworth, welcome all who have gathered this morning for our Sunday service. Welcome to those of you who are here in the building in Essex Church. Welcome to everyone who's joining us from far and wide via Zoom, and indeed anyone who's tuning in at a later date via YouTube or the podcast feed. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Blackall and I am minister with Kensington Unitarians. Our service today is all about making it up as we go along. I often say that one of the main things we're doing here together at church is reflecting on how best to live, what to make of our lives, what to do for the sake of the common good and the betterment of the world. But relatively few of us are living our lives according to a master plan. Life throws all sorts at us, and generally we just have to adapt and cope as best we can with each curveball that life brings along. In life there is a lot of improvisation, making something out of whatever we've been given, the circumstances that we happen to find ourselves in. So we'll be thinking about improvisation today, and I found 2 quotes which speak to this. If you're in the building, they're on the front of your order of service. If you're online, the text of the whole service is online on our website. The first quote is from the comedian Stephen Colbert. "Life is an improvisation. You have no idea what's going to happen next, and you are mostly just making things up as you go along." The second quote, perhaps a little bit more spiritual and uplifting, gives us plenty to think about at least. It's from the violinist Yehudi Menuhin. "Improvisation is not the expression of accident, but rather of the accumulated yearnings, dreams and wisdom of our very soul." So we'll return to those thoughts later, but in the meantime, let's do what we always do. We're going to light our chalice flame. It's a ritual that connects us with Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists the world over. It reminds us of the proudly progressive religious tradition of which this gathering is part. And it's also a moment perhaps to reset our week, to take a breath, to settle ourselves, ground ourselves in the here and now. We seek our place in this beautiful and heartbreaking world, and we search for answers to our heart's deepest questions. As we seek, may our hearts be truly open to complex and unexpected answers, open to the wise insights of others, open to forming new and ever deeper connections within, between, and beyond ourselves. And may the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and of welcome. Time to sing now. Our first hymn is number 62 in the purple books. "Here we have gathered." If you're on Zoom, the words for all the hymns will be up on screen. Feel free to stand or sit as you prefer and sing up as best you can. Hymn number 62.
Amen.
So let's take all of those joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken, into an extended time of prayer now. This is based on some words by Mikros Shekai. You might want to adjust your position to get more comfortable. You might want to put down anything you don't need to be holding. Perhaps there's a posture that helps you to feel more prayerful and centered. You might want to close your eyes. Whatever works for you, whatever helps you to get into the right state of body and mind, for us to be fully present with ourselves, with each other, and with that which lies within us and beyond us. Spirit of life, God of all love, in whom we live and move and have our being, we turn our full attention to you, the light within and without, as we tune into the depths of this life and the greater wisdom to which and through which we are all intimately connected. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and the stillness at the very center of our being. Be with us each new day as we wake. Let us know the comfort of your presence and the revitalizing power of your calling. Whatever we have to face, be it joy or sorrow, give us strength to carry through the new day. Give us to know that when we arise in the morning, we may give thanks for the morning light, for life and for strength, for we are still here. And we give thanks for the persistent joys of living, our food and our friends, and so many small gifts. Gifts which might go unappreciated in the struggle of our days. Give us hope in doing your will, in aligning ourselves with the promptings of peace and justice and love. May the warmth of the fellowship we share here stay with us through the coming week and all it brings. May we draw strength from the faith we hold and this beloved community that we are an indispensable part of. May we show our faith by extending our compassion and care even to those we find challenging, those we struggle to understand. May we find strength in humility, courage in adversity, joy in diversity, and a true sense of purpose. And so in the coming week, may our ears and our eyes be open to joy and gladness and all those hints of new possibility. Spirit of life, God of all love, bless and prosper the work of our hands for our life and for the larger life as you would see it, the realm of love that is yet to come. And in a few shared moments of quietness now, let us take some time to pray inwardly the prayers of our own hearts, calling to mind all those souls we know to be suffering this day, whether they're close to home or on the other side of the world. The world's troubles can feel so overwhelming. So for now, let us just focus on those causes which call most strongly to our heart and hold them in the light of love. And let us also pray for ourselves, for we too are sacred beings who face our own struggles and muddle through life's ups and downs as best we can. So let us reflect on our own lives and ask for what we most need this day. Perhaps that's comfort or guidance, insight or forgiveness, whatever will help us to flourish, as we offer up both our sufferings and our tender hopes to the one who holds all. And let us take just a little longer to remember all those good things in life and give thanks for them. All those moments this week when we've encountered generosity or kindness, pleasure or fun. Times when others have reached out to us, helped us to get by, or when the world's beauty has overflowed. Let us cultivate that spirit of gratitude as we recall all those moments of goodness this week. Spirit of life, God of all love, as this time of prayer draws to a close, we offer up our joys and our concerns, our hopes and our fears, our beauty and our brokenness, and we call on you for insight, healing and renewal. As we look forward now to the coming week, help us to live well each day and be our best selves, using our unique gifts in the service of love, justice and peace. Amen. Time to sing again now. Our second hymn is number 88 in your purple books, Let It Be a Dance. This used to be a real regular, but I don't think we've sung it in a year, so I'm going to ask George to play it through in full before we sing. And also, we're going to add an extra chorus, so we'll go back to the chorus at the end. Let it be a dance.
Leftovers by Gordon McKeeman. I sometimes enjoy cooking. I've discovered that one of the greatest of culinary skills is making new creations out of leftovers. It takes imagination. It takes a little skill with spices, herbs, and sauces. The achievement of a satisfying and palatable meal from leftovers can be a model of how one might conduct one's own life in a creative way. The first thing you need to do is open the refrigerator door. You'll see an assortment of things: containers, jars, bags, boxes, and things wrapped in foil, wax paper, or plastic. Now I invite you to open a different door, the door of your past. What you will find there will be leftovers too. You will probably find your parents' voices, their admonitions, perhaps their praise, maybe their blame, their warnings, some expression of their love, their anxiety. You may find traces of their uncertainties, problems, and hopes. You will rediscover some decisions that you have made without thorough understanding of the consequences, about leaving home or not leaving, about when you decided to be married or not to be, or both, and to whom. You will probably remember some of the jobs you took, some of the jobs you wanted but didn't get, and some of the ones you thought about and turned down. You will also find some circumstances, accidents, diseases, and the times you were born into and lived through. You will find your family and some of its ways, its customs, the habits that were funny or odd and are somehow deeply ingrained and make other ways seem even odder than your own. You will find people who touched your life in 1,000 unaccounted and unexpected ways, who were there at special moments and changed you or made you a gift. The gift of a smooth stone, a happy day, or an unforgettable experience. And there will be all the ruins, sorrows, guilts, regrets, along with the fears and the hopes, dreams and doubts, forgivings and forbiddings. Don't we have crowded refrigerators? Every one of us, such a collection of leftovers. In making a life, we're all cooking with leftovers from childhood, even infancy. The longer we're at it, the more leftovers there are. Of course, people are always looking for the big answer. And there is one big answer to cooking with leftovers. You open the door and you are faced with the problem. What can I make of it? I take that to be the secret ingredient for dealing with leftovers. A scriptural version is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You might consider attaching it to the refrigerator door, either the internal one or the external one, since it's a description that fits both. What is that secret ingredient? It is, of course, faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Welcome to the world where we all cook using leftovers. Some of us with imagination, some with creativity, some merely resenting the task, some thinking there is no possibility in it. Add the secret ingredient. Something will come of it that will be at least edible, probably even quite palatable.
Thanks, Hannah. So we're moving into a time of meditation now. To take us into the stillness, I'm going to share a short poem. I think it's a villanelle, the poets in the room will tell me. It's got lots of echoes and repetition in it, which I love. The poem is simply called Improvisation, and it's by Jared Carter. This poem will take us into a few minutes of shared silence, which will end with the sound of a bell. And then we're going to hear some music for meditation. So let's again do what we need to do to get comfortable. Maybe get your feet flat on the floor if that helps you to ground and steady yourself. Maybe close your eyes. And as I always say, the words, they're just an offering. Feel free to use this time to meditate in your own way. To improvise, first let your fingers stray across the keys like travellers in snow. Each time you start, expect to lose your way. You'll find no staff to lean on, none to play among the drifts the wind has left in rows. To improvise, first let your fingers stray beyond the path. Give up your need to say which way is right or what the dark stones show. They will show nothing till you lose your way. And what the stillness keeps, do not betray. The one who listens is the one who knows. To improvise, let all your fingers stray. Our over emptiness is where things weigh the least. Go there. Believe a current flows each time you start. Expect to lose your way. Risk is the pilgrimage that cannot stay. The keys grow silent in their smooth repose. To improvise, first let your fingers stray. Each time you start, expect to lose your way.
This reading comes from a book called The Art of Is, Improvising as a Way of Life by Stephen Nachmanovich. And the piece is entitled, Tell Them About the Dream. On August the 28th, 1963, at the Lincoln Memorial, during the climax of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, the great gospel singer, Mahalia Jackson, was sitting on the platform near her friend, Martin Luther King. Dr. King had begun reading his prepared address. 7 paragraphs into the speech, Jackson broke in and shouted, "Tell them about the dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream." King pushed aside his notes and began improvising. His written text didn't mention dreams. As he looked up at the crowd and rolled into the rhythmic majesty of "I Have a Dream," Dr. King was riffing on part of an earlier speech he'd given at the Cobo Hall in Detroit, but he felt it had not worked out very well. He was riffing on bits from the Bible, from Shakespeare, from Lincoln, from the Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence. The ghost of Gandhi was never far. Though we can identify the deep roots of King's words, the innumerable strands and influences had been collectively digested, absorbed, and integrated. The interbeing of many is expressed in the voice of each of us. We recognize King's courage and brilliance, but he's not some solitary genius spinning creativity out of whole cloth. For there are no such geniuses. This is what it is to be human, to learn and assimilate the patterns of culture, community, and environment, both conscious and unconscious, and alter them as needed, make them ours, such that the voice spontaneously emerging is our voice, interdependent with the human world in which we live. Thus we breathe life into art, and art into life. Improvising means coming prepared, but not being attached to the preparation. Everything flows into the creative act in progress. Come prepared, but be willing to accept interruptions and invitations. Trust that the product of your preparation is not your papers and plans, but yourself. Know that no solo is solo. Even one of the greatest speeches of all time was helped into existence by a good friend's blurted reminder.
Thanks, Roy. Well, I feel I should begin my reflection with a confession. I am the last person who should be talking to you about improvisation. The very idea of being spontaneous, speaking off the cuff, God forbid doing a role play. This has struck terror into my heart for most of my life. I like to have a script or a plan, and I more or less stick to it. I need time to think things through, at the very least to sketch out contingency plans for all the most likely ways that a situation will unfold. I expect that will always be my preference. For those of you who don't know, I'm autistic. That's probably part of the picture. But I suspect I'm not alone in this preference, though I'm sure there are also plenty of free spirits among us this morning, people who tend to lean more the other way. But if you're anything like me, you might need a bit of convincing about the idea of embracing improvisation. The thing is, though, whether you or I would choose to improvise for fun or not, over the course of our lives, we're going to need to improvise occasionally. It's pretty much unavoidable. We're repeatedly going to find ourselves in situations where the unexpected happens, and we need to respond creatively in some way to whatever new reality we suddenly find ourselves in. Plans are, of course, still very much worth making. They can help us to live more intentionally, to act out of our principles and values rather than following the crowd. Plans can give us a sense of agency rather than feeling we're drifting through our days. Plans can keep our spirits up by giving us things to look forward to, hopes on the horizon. And at the same time, we must be clear-eyed and realistic about the possibility, the likelihood really, that our grand plans won't entirely survive contact with reality. That refrain from the poem that we heard from Jared Carter says it all. Each time you start, expect to lose your way. The world we're living in seems ever more turbulent and unpredictable, so it helps if we can hold our plans lightly, with a certain openness of mind and heart, being ready to respond and adapt to whatever unexpected curveball that life might throw at us next. As per the quote from Stephen Colbert we heard at the start, life is an improvisation. You have no idea what's going to happen next, and you are mostly just making things up as you go along. When you hear the word improvisation, though, I wonder what first comes to mind. Perhaps comedy. Certainly I remember watching the Channel 4 improv show Whose Line Is It Anyway back in the 90s. I went to see the Comedy Store Players a few times. Well, there's theatre. Some of you might be aware of the show Ostentatious that's been running for about 8 years in the West End. They make up a parody of a Jane Austen novel fresh every week on stage. Or indeed, our own much-missed congregation member, Veronica Needer, was a pioneer of playback theatre and improvised acts in response to people's life stories in the audience. Or our former warden, Jenny, for those of you who remember her. She was a keen practitioner of contact improvisation in dance. Or on a very different tack, improvisation in the kitchen. We heard about The Leftovers. Who remembers Ready, Steady, Cook? Good old Ainsley Harriott. That show where celebrity chefs are presented with a carrier bag of random ingredients by contestants and have to wrestle up something edible within 20 minutes with the help of a reasonably well-stocked store cupboard. Or, of course, with our musicians here, you might think of improvisation in music, especially jazz. I don't know if we've got any more jazz musicians lurking in the congregation. I know we've got some jazz fans. It's no coincidence that a lot of the commentary I came across on improvisation came from musicians. Catholic writer Edward Hayes said, "Those who loved life enjoy playing it by ear, engaging life without a printed score, simply flowing with its melody. By keeping our agendas flexible and minimizing our demands, life can be a melodic song. Whenever circumstances interrupt the normal rhythm of life, those who cultivate patience and inner freedom are able to improvise with a life situation like jazz musicians, making up music as they go. And the emphasis on playing it by ear is on playfulness. Those who use that gift of the Spirit make their way gracefully through life." Similarly, the singer Bobby McFerrin has said, "Improvisation means coming to the situation without rigid expectations or preconceptions. The key to improvisation is motion. You keep going forward, fearful or not, living from moment to moment. That's how life is." So we might usually think about improvisation in the context of these specific spheres: comedy, theatre, dance, music, cooking. But what unites all of these different expressions? In her book, Improv Your Life, An Improviser's Guide to Embracing Whatever Life Throws at You, this is what Pippa Evans has got to say. Improvisation is a mystery to many people because it's so tied up in its identity as a comedy show rather than a skill in and of itself. So I would like to use the following definition of improvisation. Improvisation is the art of using what is available to you in the moment. This definition works for me because the strongest improvisers are the ones who have unlimited access to everything they possess. What is available to you means the people around you, the props on the table, and the treasure trove that is yourself. Your thoughts, your words, your responses, your presence in the moment. The best improvisers are not loud show-offs, not all of them anyway. They are curious and interested in the world around them. They want to expand their knowledge and be equipped for every scenario. Words from Pippa Evans. So I would call this improvisation as a way of life, the art of using what is available to you in the moment. Think back to the piece that Hannah read about leftovers. He uses that metaphor, improvising something more or less edible out of the random bits and pieces we happen to have left in our fridge. And that metaphor is to get us thinking more deeply about the process of improvising a life that is livable out of the random bits and pieces, material, psychological, spiritual, that we have accumulated over the course of our life so far. Given who you are, the resources you have at your disposal, and the situation you find yourself in this moment, however suboptimal it may be, the way of the improviser is to ask in that moment, what can I make of it? Paradoxically, it actually takes quite a bit of preparation in order to improvise skillfully and well. Preparation can increase what is available to you in the moment, enhance your metaphorical store cupboard by stocking you up with more resources that you can draw on. But as Stephen Nakmanovich said, improvising means coming prepared but not being attached to the preparation. The spontaneous delivery of I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King illustrates perfectly how, despite appearances, the very best improvisation doesn't just conjure brilliance out of thin air. It takes a huge amount of groundwork. King had given many speeches before that day, none of which had seemed to work so well, but he'd learned a lot along the way through all that experience. And he was thoroughly steeped in all these crucial influences, the Bible and Shakespeare, the political pioneers and the justice activists, all of which he had digested, absorbed, and integrated. He used what was available to him in the moment. In his case, a huge wealth of inner riches that he had to draw on. He riffed on them, he remixed them in real time in order to articulate his powerful vision. And we can learn from his example when preparing ourselves to improvise in our daily lives. All the wisdom that we are exposed to, that we can digest and absorb and integrate, becomes part of our inner treasure trove. It shapes our way of seeing and responding to the world in each moment. Again, as Nakmanovich says, trust that the product of your preparation is not in your papers and plans, but yourself. Many forms of improvisation, certainly in music and dance, theatre and comedy, involve two or more people playing off each other, which requires some kind of tuning in, some sensitivity of perception to allow this responsive, constructive collaboration to unfold. This often involves some sort of framework or rules of engagement to structure the interaction. It's rarely a complete free-for-all. Musicians might structure their improvisation by basing it on certain scales. Dancers, and I know this much from my limited experience of ballroom dance, social dancers will have a repertoire of basic steps that they can join together in different combinations in response to the music. And we practice our scales or our moves so that they come more easily to us and they are available in the moment. And the same principles might apply in daily life. We're never truly living in isolation. We will face constraints and opportunities as a result. We are part of this interdependent web with every other being in the entire universe. So the dance that is our life will always involve other people, which inevitably complicates matters. Perhaps the final thing to mention about improvisation is it is typically guided by some sort of vision of what it is that we hope to create. Whether that's an audience rolling with laughter, a beautiful and flowing movement across the dance floor, a delicious curry, or maybe even a speech that will change hearts and minds and bend the moral arc of the universe towards justice. You never know. Perhaps the rest of us won't have quite the impact that Martin Luther King did, but all of our creative acts, however humble, play their part in nudging the universe in one direction or the other. So when it comes to improvising as a way of life, what is it that we hope to create? What are the values and principles that guide us and shape our way of being in the world? What are the aspirations that we hold before us when we look at our life and ask, what can I make of it? In a way, I like to think, coming to church each week is a bit like practicing our scales or our steps in preparation for that everyday improvisation that is our life. Because here we remind ourselves over and over again of our shared values, our shared principles, and we internalise them so they become habits of mind and heart, so that they are available in the moment, ready so that when we're confronted by life's latest plot twist, we stand a better chance of spontaneously responding in a way that aligns with our highest values. It gives us a better chance of being our best selves. And each time we meet, I hope, we tuck away a little bit more wisdom into our store cupboards and we build up our resources and our inner strength for whatever it is we have to deal with next. Don't forget those words from Yehudi Menuhin. Improvisation is not the expression of accident, but rather of the accumulated yearnings, dreams, and wisdoms of our very soul. So I hope to see you here back again next week, same time, same place. Let's keep on practicing together as best we can. And in so doing, let's support each other in responding ever more creatively to this precious life that we share. May it be so for the greater good of all. Amen. One more hymn, and it's our old favourite, number 125 in the purple books. One more step along the world I go. Just a few announcements then. Thanks to Ramona for tech hosting today and Sherry for co-hosting online. I'm going to get my thanks to Pat and Anna in before they leave the room because they're going to put the kettle on. Thanks to Hannah for greeting. Thanks to Hannah and Roy for reading. Thanks to Georgia, Toby and George for lovely music. If you're here in person, please stay for berry lime drizzle cake and small quantity of assorted vegan treats. If you're online, please do stay and have a chat with Sherry, and indeed, please do reach out. It's lovely to see your faces on the screen, or sometimes not your faces on the screen, but it's nice to know you're there. But if you want to reach out and have a chat or join one of our small groups online, it would be lovely to get to know you better. If you're here in person at 12:30, Hannah is leading a yoga class in the room. All are welcome, accessible yoga. If you haven't been before, you need to fill in a little consent form, health information form. Just let Hannah know, she'll sort you out. Tonight and Friday at 7, we've got our Heart and Soul Contemplative Spiritual Gathering online. That is one of the best ways to get to know each other. This week's theme is contradictions. Let me know if you want the link. Looking a bit further ahead, just to let you know, we've decided to call off this month's Crafternoon. Numbers have been a bit low over the summer, so we've decided to give it a break and start again in the autumn. The Better World Book Club this month is On the Amen Effect by Rabbi Sharon Brous. Michaela gave her rave review last week. I think I've given out all the loan copies, but if you're struggling to get a copy, let me know and we'll sort you out. All the titles for the rest of the year are available on the flyer that's in the foyer. Next week, Sarah Tinker will be leading our service, and the theme is Making a Joyful Noise. All these details are on the back of your order of service. They're also on the Friday email. If you haven't already signed up for that, please do, and that will keep you abreast of what's happening here. There's also the newsletter in the foyer. Please take a copy, give one to a friend, spread the word. The more the merrier. This congregation very much has a life beyond Sunday morning, so we encourage you to keep in touch, look out for each other, and do whatever you can to nurture those supportive connections. So just time for our closing words and closing music. Our chalice is about to be extinguished, but its light shines on, burning within each and every one of us as faith and hope and love. So in the days to come, whatever unexpected twists and gifts life brings our way, may we always be guided by the light of this inner beacon, reminding us of the beloved community we have known here and recalling us to our highest aspirations, our best selves. Amen.